Hello and welcome to Insight Magazine here on I-24 News. Well, today we're joined by Henrique Cymerman, an accomplished journalist who's visited the Vatican multiple times with Pope Francis. His first visit was with the head rabbi of Buenos Aires, Abraham Skorka, when the rabbi has been a very close friend and professional colleague of Pope Francis for over 23 years. Well, the two share a special relationship, and Rabbi Skorka wrote the prologue for the Pope's authorized biography titled The Jesuit. Well, based on this deeply rooted friendship, in Rome, Henrique was granted a personal audience with Pope Francis and was the first to access his private residence with cameras. Most recently, he accompanied Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on his official visit to the Vatican. While there, Henrique sat with the Pope and discussed many pressing world issues, specifically in the Middle East. We'll ask Henrique about his remarkable greeting in Rome and what he learned in his conversation with the new Pope, especially in light of the Pope's upcoming visit to Israel, Jordan, and the Palestinian territories planned for this next spring. Well, here's the story from the Vatican with Henrique Cymerman.
He's probably the most popular man in the world, and not only the Catholic world. Millions follow his every word and thoughts in every field. He's a unique pope, a man who came to the Vatican to make a change. We couldn't believe it when his best friend for the last 2 decades, the Buenos Aires Rabbi Abraham Skorka, told us the Pope invited us to visit him in his private residence in the Vatican in Santa Marta.
He said, "I want to live among people for the sake of my spiritual health." And he made his words stronger. He said, "for my mental health." At least that was published in the Argentinian newspapers. I want to live in Santa Marta. I don't want to live alone, isolated in the middle of a big palace. I think the palace is 500 square meters only for him. It's huge.
We have the representative of God in the Vatican, the representative of God in the soccer fields, and the Queen of Holland. What's going on with Argentina?
There are indeed many who are brilliant in Argentina. I can say that because of my dear friend Pope Francis. There are people who excel at sports like Messi. Yet, even if there are amazing individuals in Argentina, we don't manage to create brilliant teams.
For the Pope, the dialogue between Christians and Jews is critical. Castel Gandolfo, his summer home, is a meeting place for all faiths from all over the world. This is what they used to do together, the former Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Jorge Bergoglio, and the Chief Rabbi, Abraham Skorka. The Pope and Skorka would conduct long sessions of discussions between them, resulting in 30 recorded TV hours. They would debate topics such as faith, the Holocaust, and fanaticism.
Nuestras tres confesiones y en el islamismo también hay fundamentalistas.
In our 3 religions, there are fundamentalists. Also in Islam, right? We all have fundamentalists, people who cling to the truth so much that they abandon the good and the beauty in life. They distort the truth because it can't exist without any good or beauty. It becomes a mere representation of it. A fundamentalist does not understand what dialogue is. His heart is sealed to anyone that holds a position different than his.
Their relationship was so close that the Pope often asks the rabbi to write him theological essays. Once appointed, the surprised new Pope called his friend back home.
He said to me, "I am here and they won't let me go back." Any joke from him has a double meaning. He opened his heart to me and said, "I agree. I feel it came from heaven." He is really a humble person. Really, a very humble person. I had a feeling they were going to choose him for many reasons. I used to tell my wife, "My friend, Jorge Mario is going to be the Pope." And she said, "No, no, no way." As if to say, "Poor man, he's too old, he already accomplished a lot." And I, half jokingly, kept telling her all the time, "No, he will be." It didn't surprise me, but both in my mind and heart I was touched by this, very touched. He showed me so many acts of love, sincere love that only a dear good friend can show.
Solamente un muy, muy buen amigo puede llegar a demostrar.
I understand that he considers the Holocaust as the worst crime ever committed in the human history. How far is he ready to go?
Hay que abrir los archivos para tratar de entender realmente.
The archives must be open to try and understand better what happened. His analysis of the Shoah is a position a Jew could have. He qualifies the Shoah as a unique crime in the history of mankind. So he says, we have to open the files and investigate to know the truth.
And to take the blame?
If there is guilt, they must take responsibility.
Are you concerned about Pope Francis' security?
We are both men of faith. I am sure that God will take care of him, as it says in the Bible.
The Swiss guards cannot believe their eyes.
Good morning. We want to speak with the person in charge. We have a meeting with the Holy Father.
Who are these visitors? A TV camera? Inside the Vatican? The Rabbi is convinced we will get in. In Santa Marta, they put us in a corner room and told us to wait for the Pope's decision. Without any announcement, the Pope walked into the room.
How are you?
Fine.
Oh, what a pleasure. Welcome.
Thank you.
Pope Francis, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for coming with my friend. We work so much together.
Many years, isn't it?
Yes, so many years. Good, thank you.
We are all coming from Israel.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
The idea is to send a message to Israel.
Our friendship is an example that dialogue is possible, and friendship is possible. This is the message.
Yes, this is the best message that we can convey to Israel. And may God bless Israel with peace.
God give them peace.
And may Rome and Jerusalem join together in peace.
Blessed be God. Let's go. Goodbye. Thank you.
A pleasure, really. We hope to see you soon in Israel.
We'll see.
We said our goodbyes when suddenly, a few minutes later, he returns to offer us lunch.
Please forgive me. I thought you were leaving, and they just told me you were staying. So please come, have lunch. These are simple vicar's habits.
The Rabbi asked us to stay. We are taking him to the airport. He's going back to Buenos Aires this afternoon.
They told me you were leaving, so I asked, are they gone? If they are here, give them a sandwich. I say to myself, let's invite them to lunch.
I congratulate you for your soccer team San Lorenzo. You're a big fan of them.
Since they wear my photographs in their shirts.
You gestured the 3-0 to a Boca Juniors soccer fan.
No, he wasn't from Boca. He was from San Lorenzo.
Thank you very much for everything. The Pope asks his staff to receive us in his dining room. He shares with priests from all over the world. Then after lunch, he asked us to join him and the Rabbi for a meeting on the situation in the Middle East and a possible visit to the Holy Land in May 2014.
Se puede decir que está muy comprometido con el pueblo judío.
You might say he is very committed to the Jewish people. He won't take exaggerated political positions in favor of the State of Israel. He undoubtedly respects and will continue to respect the Islamic world. His stance will be balanced. He strongly pushes for peace and compromise. He looks to contribute for the peace and has for both sides great affection.
Recently, Pope Francis invited to the Vatican some leaders from the region, such as the President of Israel, Shimon Peres, the Palestinian President, Mahmoud Abbas, and in the beginning of December, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Pope Francis, we all want you to visit us soon in the land of Israel.
Sources in the Vatican told us that the Pope's visit to the Middle East on May 24th will include Amman, Bethlehem and Jerusalem. Pope Francis said to us, "This is my life dream."
Look where we are standing. Look where we are standing, and how he welcomed us. This is beyond imagination. It did not change at all. He was waiting for me.
You are like brothers, huh?
Yes, different, and yet so similar.
Welcome back to the studio here. Now joined by Henrique Cymerman. Hi, Henrique. Thank you for being here. I have to start by asking you, what are the Pope's main goals for this first historic visit to the Holy Land as Pontiff?
Well, really what I know and what he said to me in our visit to the Vatican is that that's the dream of his life. He really wants to come here, but he's not coming also only for tourism. He's coming to do something. And he wants to contribute to the peace process between Israelis and Palestinians. It is vital for him. He asked me so many questions about that, about the leadership, about the problems, about the main obstacles, about the ways to help and to do something. And he's very, very hopeful. He hopes that this peace process that should continue until May next year, this 9 months of negotiations between Israelis and Palestinians, will have a good result. That's, he said, I pray every day for that. And he wants to help to the leaders. So that's why he received in the Vatican both President Abbas, the Palestinian president, President Peres from Israel, and recently Prime Minister Netanyahu too. This is a very important goal for him. The second one is Syria. He's very worried with Syria, and he's going to have a big event in the Vatican in January dedicated to discuss how the world can help to put an end to that slaughtery, to that very, very cruel war in Syria. He's very worried. He's updated about everything happening in Syria. He knows there is a huge number of victims. More than 120,000 people lost their lives in less than 3 years. So he really wants to do something on that subject. But there is something different, David, completely different, that he's very concerned about. And that's the future of the Christian community in the Middle East, and especially here in Palestine and in Israel. He wants to give them, to reinforce them, to tell them, please, don't leave our churches, don't leave the Holy Land, because they will become museums without you. He wants to give them strength and to tell them he will support them, he will help them just to stay here, to stay in the Holy Land, because for him it's a vital, and he said to me, it's really the center of the world.
When you were with the Israeli Prime Minister on his recent visit to the Vatican, what were your impressions of his meeting there with the Pope?
Well, it was an important meeting because it was the first time I went in the Prime Minister's plane. He was quite tense before the meeting. It was important for him. I spoke with him. I asked him. He said, look, Pope Francis is really one of the most important personalities in the world, and for sure the most relevant pope in the last, at least in our time, in our era. And he could make a change. So for him it was important also to organize the visit to Israel next year and to convince the Pope to have a certain role bringing peace in the Middle East, helping to bring peace in the Middle East. So it was a good meeting, and I know that the Pope, after the meeting, he said that he has a kind of a hope that Prime Minister Netanyahu will deliver, and he will reach peace.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, Henrique. Very interesting. Thank you for bringing us this story.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching us here. Tune in next week at the same time.